What up, nerds? I'm Bryson. You can call me Bammed. And this is CTF and Cigars by Bam CTF, where I light up a cigar, talk about CTFs, hacking, and other security-related topics. The past few episodes, I have been going through TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2. And today, I am finishing it up. So we're going to take a look at day 24, which was the Christmas Eve challenge. They didn't do a Christmas Day challenge, so they only went up through the Christmas Eve. So we're going to take a look at that, and then that will be done with the Advent of Cyber. So before we do that, let's light up a cigar. So unfortunately, my humidor is just about bare. I've got a couple boxes coming in. I'm restocking, but shipping's been delayed because of Christmas. So I'm reviewing another one I've done before. So I've got it's an A Fernandez Relic. I think I did one maybe even earlier this week. I did several episodes this week. So it's another Relic. It's an A Fernandez Relic Toro. So that means it is 6.5 inches long. We have a 52 gauge. It has a Nicaraguan Habano wrapper. So that would be the wrapper that binds it all together. There's an Ecuadorian Habano binder, and then the Nicaraguan Ligero filler. So I've mentioned this before. The Ligero would be these are the different types of leaves and how strong they are. The Ligero would be the top leaf. It's a stronger, younger leaf on the tobacco plant. So overall, this is a medium to strong strength as far for the cigar, and then the body, it's a full-bodied, full complexity cigar. So the aroma, it's a bit of chocolate and damp wood. And then when we light it up here, that first third, we're going to get start off really kind of sweet, sort of a sweet, chewy cola, a bit earthy, just straight tobacco flavor with just a little bit of sort of chocolatey to it. And then the earthiness becomes a little more focused on that tobacco flavored, a bit more cocoa with some white pepper, and then that sweetness actually takes on just a subtle hint of barbecue. But then that final third, the chocolate, it starts taking a little bit more bitterness and becomes less chocolate and cocoa and more like dark roasted coffee as it picks up some of that bitterness. Continues with the earthiness, sort of like an earthy hay, and a little more peppery towards the end. Now, the final third is a little less balanced in my experience than the first two thirds. That middle third is probably the best part of this cigar. Let's go ahead and get this lit up. So I'm going to toast the foot a bit, and then we'll light it. So yeah, definitely starts off kind of sweet, a bit of cola. Yep, that's pretty good. Do get some of that earthiness and maybe just a little bit of pepper on the retrohale. All right, well, that's the cigar that I'm going to be enjoying and trying to type while holding the cigar like I always do. Let's take a look at the day 24 of TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2. So this has been a really fun challenge that we've been going through. TryHackMe did a really great job on this, as they always do. But every day they've been building up different skills. This whole challenge really is a good sort of primer for someone new to red teaming, to pen testing, to hacking, to all those types of skills. Just a quick review, just a summary of the categories. So we started out with some like very basic web exploitation. Then we get into some network exploitation. There's a couple of specials here by John Hammond. There's some scripting, so we do some Python. A little bit of reverse engineering. That was fun. There's another special. Then we get into some blue teaming and using PowerShell. So we had some more Windows-focused challenges and got to play around with PowerShell. Now, today on the 24th, this is the last challenge. So we're putting all the skills together that we've picked up throughout this entire this entire thing, and got one larger more complex challenge that we're going to go through. That the tutorial in this case really just kind of, it does introduce a couple of new things, but there is more of a expectation that you've gone through the rest of the challenge and you've picked up some things from that. So it's not going to kind of hand walk or walk you through it step by step like some of the other challenges did. But this is what it's pretty great about this whole advent of cyber. If you look at any of the previous day challenges, you can really go through step by step and interact with the attack box or the target box, and they tell you pretty much everything that you need to do, and so you can learn some new skills. And I think it's pretty well laid out just from a instructional design or a learning point of view. Some of you may not know this, but I've actually spent some time working in not just in security, but also in the training side of things. It studied some instructional design concepts, and that sort of thing. And I think they did a pretty good job if looking at it from that point of view, not just from, a security point of view. All right, so what is the day 24 challenge? Well, let's take a look. So it was the night before Christmas, and the best festival company could finally rest. All the toys had been made, and the company had recovered from attack after attack. Everything was in Santa's hands now, leaving the elves to do little more than wish him a safe journey ahead. Elf McEager sat at his terminal, staring absent-mindedly at light snow that had begun to fall. Just as he had drifted off to sleep, Elf McEager was jolted to attention as a small parcel appeared just at the edge of his view. The present was wrapped in a deep blue velvet that appeared to shimmer in and out of the firelight, not unlike the unblinking terminal prompt. Carefully, Elf McEager reached for the azure ribbon, untying it slowly so as not damage it. The velvet slowly fell away, revealing a small NUC computer and a letter on top. Unfolding the letter, Elf McEager read it aloud. Elf McEager, your boundless effort to save Christmas this year has not gone unnoticed. I wanted to reward you with a special present. However, there's a catch. Elf McSkitty and I have seen your skills advance, and we feel it would only be appropriate to give you a present after one last challenge. Inside this package, you'll have also found a computer. Plug this into the network and hack into it. Best of luck and Merry Christmas, Santa. All right. Without delay, Elf McEager connected the NUC computer appropriately and watched it work to life. A small screen nearby the power button blinked and then displayed the IP address assigned to the device. Next to the IP, a small symbol appeared. McEager quietly wondered to himself what it could mean as he logged into his terminal, ready to start his final challenge. So here's the symbol. I think this is just a bit of flavor text. This isn't necessarily. I don't think you need this to solve the challenge for the day, but I did do a quick image search for this, and this is actually a Tron symbol. So that is referenced a few times. The fact that today's okay, it's called the Trial Before Christmas. Yeah. But yeah, this is Tron. It is mentioned as we dig into some of the challenges here. There's a little bit of a Tron theme to this. All right, so once again, today's task is an accumulation of the skills we've gained throughout the advent of Cyber 2. So we're going to go back and look at some of the things we've done before. We're going to do them again with some slight modifications and kind of putting all that together. Don't be afraid to ask for help if need be. Okay, so in the past, on day 2, I think, yes, we looked at server-side filters around a file upload function. Well, today we're going to look at client-side filters. And so there's a brief tutorial here on using Burp Suite to intercept the download of a JavaScript, and that applies a client-side filter to an upload page. So there's a brief description on how to do that. Oh, and then this is a cool section here on upgrading your shell. So before, when we had launched a reverse shell on a remote server and we connected to it, or we started a listener using Netcat locally, then started a reverse shell that connected back to it, it wasn't a full shell. We didn't have all the full features. So things like tab complete don't work. If you hit Control-C, you don't just kill the last command you ran. You actually kill the entire shell. So here's a brief discussion on how to upgrade the shell and stabilize it. And all these things work inside the shell. There's actually just a list of commands here. And so when we get to that point, we can walk through that and get that to work. Then there's a very brief discussion here on using MySQL. So there is an explanation on how that works, some basic SQL commands, and then also some online password cracking. So there's a lot of different parts to this, and also some privilege escalation. So there's all these are things that we're going to use in today's challenge. There's quite a bit here, but let's go ahead and just jump into the hacks. All right, step 1, scan the machine. So let's find our IP address. There we go. That's up and running. All right, I'm going to pull up a terminal here. We will just nmap 10.10.80.190, and we get 2 ports, port 80 and port 65,000. And so the first question was just what ports are open, and there they are. It's a lot of scrolling here. There we go. 80 and 65,000. All right. What's the title of the hidden website? It's worthwhile looking recursively at all websites on the box for this step. All right, so let's pull up our browser and hold on, let me get that IP again. All right, now we could have done this all in map. But let's just take a look manually. All right, so this first one actually looks like it's a mirror, or at least somewhat of a mirror of the TryHackMe site. But let's see what's on port 65,000. All right, so we've got another site here. It's got a registration page, and it looks like this is called Light Cycle. Again, there's kind of a Tron theme to today's challenge. So there we go. We've got Light Cycle. All right, what's the name of the hidden PHP page? So how do we find hidden pages? Let's use GoBuster. This was back on one of the previous days. We used GoBuster to find some hidden pages. Let's take a quick look at the help. All right. So GoBuster, let's use 4 threads. We're going to use a word list. Let's use let's see, there's some word lists provided for you. This is a Kali box. And I think it's, nope, sorry. Want word list. Yeah. All right, so the path to the word list we're going to use on any Kali box you have, that should have this list. It's under user share word list, dirb, dirb, and then big.txt. And then we need to provide our URL. And let's see if that's still in my clipboard. There we go, port 65,000. And let's look for, let's see, I think it was -X. All right, I think that'll work. All right, what did I do wrong? All right, let's try this again. GoBuster, we'll do that. User share word list. All right, I'm getting my flags wrong, and let's, you know what? I'm always telling you this, so let's RTFM. And there's no man page. Damn it. Okay, in that case, we'll go back and look at. Let's find the day that we used GoBuster. I think it was day 2. Nope, wasn't day 2. Was that on day 1? Let's see. No, day 1 was just cookies. All right, it's one of the first few days. I know that. All right, here we go. We're using wfuzz. There it is. Ah, okay. Maybe I should have looked at the instructions or the help a little more closely. I forgot the command, which is that we are using directories and files. Okay, so we need that. There we go. All right, so now that we did RTFM, we found the appropriate flags that we need. All right. So what was the question? What are we looking for? We're looking for a hidden page, right? Yeah, what's the name of the hidden PHP page or file? The hidden PHP page. Okay, so we've got index.php, which you expect. Here it is. This is uploads.php. That is the hidden file. So let's go there and see what that looks like. All right, so there's an upload. If we click here, it will let us try to upload something. So let's take a look. We've got this AOC 2020 day 2. Let's look for all files, and we've got a reverse shell that's already been provided for us. But it tells us invalid file type. All right, so that's if we remember, if you go back to the top of today's tutorial here, they talk again about server-side and client-side filters, and specifically using Burp to bypass client-side filters. So let's do what they recommend that we do. Let's get Burp up here. Need to go to proxy. All right, intercept is on. Let's switch our use Foxy proxy to switch to Burp, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a control F5 to force a reload of the page. Now we've got intercept on, so come on. All right, let's move some of the stuff around so a little bit easier to work with. Okay. All right, so we're trying to get for uploads.php. We'll go ahead and forward that. Oh, forgot one thing. This was also in the tutorial. What we need to do before we try to get stuff with Burp. So Burp by default, it doesn't capture, the intercept doesn't capture every single request. There is a filter for the types of files that it will ignore, and one of those is JavaScript. But we want to go ahead and modify our filter here to allow for JavaScript files. All right, let's go back to intercept. And here we go. Now let's refresh this page again. So let's control F5. All right, so we're got the get for uploads.php. We want that request to go through, so we'll send that. And this is where the modification that we made is going to come in handy. So the client-side filter is going to be in this filter.js. So this is a local client side, so it's running in your browser, but because it's running locally, we've got some more control over it. But instead of sending that request, I'm going to go ahead and just drop it. Now we do have the upload.js, so that was the JavaScript that's actually going to upload the file. We want that, so let's go ahead and forward that. I'm going to go ahead and turn intercept off just to save us a little bit of time. Now let's see if we can upload the file. Still says invalid to file type. Well, let's go back and remember what we did on the previous day where we talked about file side or server side filters on day 2, and let's see if we can bypass that using the same techniques. Now let's find this. Let's find this shell. All right, and let's just rename it. What we'll do is we'll put a JPG. So the filter, if it's like it was on day 2, is just looking for something .jpg or one of the approved image file types, but it doesn't actually check the last 3. It just checks for something one of those file types. So if we do reverse shell.jpeg.php, it should go ahead and work. All right, I've been talking too much. My cigar went out. Can't have that. Okay, now that we've renamed the file, let's try this again. All right, file uploaded successfully. Great. Okay, now I may have kind of jumping around here a little bit. I didn't go through step by step like the challenge here, but the next question is, what is the name of the hidden directory where files are saved? So there's a couple hidden directories here. There's API, assets, there's this grid. Let's go back to our browser and see what's in the /grid directory. And there we go. We can see the file we had uploaded is now there. So that is the answer to that one. The hidden directory is grid. Bypass the filter, upload and execute a reverse shell. All right, we've bypassed the filter. We've uploaded it. Let's get our reverse shell started. Actually, we need to do that again. Let's have a look at the shell. There's a variable here that we did not set before I uploaded it, and we need to get our IP address. So let's find that IP. So it's 10.10.248.235. All right, now I'm going to have to upload it all over again. Let's hope the filters are still... Okay. All right, hopefully that worked. Let's go ahead and start our listener. Again, if we looked at that file, it gave us the port number. It's by default listing on port 1234. So let's give that a try. So we'll use netcat to start listening on port 1234. And then if we go to our, let's see, where was that? Yeah, grid. Damn it. All right, now if we click on this, it should launch our shell. And it did. All right, so we can see that we're logged in as the www-data user. All right, that's done. What's the flag of web.txt? Well, let's see, where are we? We're actually in root. I think that's where it was. Yeah. So it was in the var www folder, and actually just did a find for that the first time. So the command for find, we're going to do a find from our current directory, look for the file named web.txt. We're going to get a bunch of errors because of permissions, so I'm going to redirect our error. So that would be a 2 greater than. That's going to redirect std error. We're going to send that to dev null so we don't worry about all the errors, and we'll give that a second. I'll just show you how I found that file the first time. There we go. So that gives us the path to our file. So it's in var www web.txt. So we got that file. And the flag. All right, now upgrade and stabilize your shell. Now this is pretty simple because they give you all the commands that you need for that up here. Write them down, keep them in your arsenal, because this makes everything going forward much simpler if we have a fully stable interactive shell. All right, I got to put that into our clipboard. Get away. All right, so we've done that bit. Step 2 is this command. All right, let's see if that works. We should be able to type clear. It should clear our screen. All right, that worked. Finally, and most importantly, we're going to background our current current shell. So we'll use Control Z to background it. And then we'll use, let's see, stty raw dash echo semicolon FG to bring it back into the foreground. All right, so now we should have a, yep, we've got a fully interactive shell, tab complete, all that. Control C should work to kill processes rather than the shell. So that step is complete. We've now upgraded and stabilized our shell. So that one's done. All right, review the configuration files of the web server to find some useful loot in the form of credentials. So let's go into var www. Let's see what files we have. All right, so there's incom, and then there's the grid. So the grid is most likely what we're looking at because that was the thing we had exploited. All right, so we've got a public HTML, we've got a rickroll, that's fun. There's also an include. So include seems like a good place to take a look. A lot of times your configuration files for a web application are in some sort of include directory. So we're looking for credentials. This DB auth seems like a good place to find credentials. Let me just cat that. And there we go. So we've got a database address, so it's going to be on localhost. Database user is Tron. Password is iFight for the users, and the database is Tron. Again, there's a very, very strong Tron theme for today's challenge. So what are the credentials? And that the format is username : password. So it's Tron : iFight for the users. All right, now we want to access the database, discover the encrypted credentials. So what is the name of the database you find these in? Okay, let's take a look. So we'll use the MySQL client. We'll say -u user Tron. And then, got to add a -p to ask for a password. I fight for the users. All right, let's see what databases we have. So there's Tron and information schema. Information schema, if you're not familiar with MySQL, all the structure and the schema of all the databases and tables inside of MySQL are in the information schema database. If you've done any SQL injection, if you can get success, a lot of times what you end up doing is first going for the information schema database, where you can then look and figure out what tables and columns and whatnot exist, and sort of build out your database structure, and then go on from there for all your data exfiltration. All right, so we're going to use the database Tron. Let's show tables to see what tables we have, and we have a table called users. So we're going to select star from users, and all right, so we've got username Flynn and a password. All right, so the database that we use there that discovered the encrypted credentials is Tron. And then crack the password. So let's get this password. This looks like an MD5 hash. And again, if we scroll up a bit there, they give us some websites we can use to try to crack some of these passwords. So let's go to Crack Station. Let's see if that one works. So there's the encoded or encrypted password we have, or it's a hash of a password, I guess. I'm not a robot. Let's crack those hashes, and there we go. So the password is @computer@. All right, so that's just MD5. All right, that one's done. So we've got our password. All right, use SU to log in to the newly discovered user by exploiting password reuse. Okay, so let's see if we can SU as the user Flynn with the password that we just cracked, @computer@, and it worked. We are now the user Flynn. All right, what's the value of user.text? Well, let's go to Flynn's home directory. There's a user.text. There we go. So identity disk recognized. Hope you guys have seen Tron. Maybe you can get all these references. It's been a few years, but yeah, I used to watch Tron a lot when I was younger. All right, check the users group. Which group can be leveraged to escalate privileges? So I already did that. I used the ID command, and we can see here it's blend as part of the LXD group. And again, if you go back through the tutorial, the last section about privilege escalation was specifically about using LXD for privilege escalation. So that would be how we're going to privilege escalate here. All right. So final step, abuse this group to escalate privileges to root. All right. So let's see. Let's go back and look at the LXD section here. All right, so we used ID. We know we're part of the LXD group. Okay, this we don't need to do all this. It's already set up locally. All right, so the first command we want to do, we want to see what LXC images exist. So we'll do LXC image list. All right, so we've got one image here called Alpine. Now we'll run through a series of commands which initialize, configure disk, start the container. The image names need to match up with the imported image we'll be using. In the case of the image above, that'd be the my image alias previously assigned to it. The container name and device name or whatever your heart desires. In my example, I'm using my container Strongbad and the device Trogdor. Also some great old school references there. I'm going to copy these commands just to speed things along here. But I do need to change one thing because our image is not named my image. It's named Alpine. That's the alias defined here. So we're going to change my image to Alpine. But yeah, let's keep the Strongbad theme here. So we'll name our container Strongbad. So we can run that command, and that's going to make the rest of this easier because I'm using the same name that the tutorial does. So I can just copy and paste the rest of these commands here. So once we've got, let's see, paste that in here. So we've initialized it. We're going to configure it. All right, so Trogdor added to Strongbad, and then we can start it. Oops, typo. LXC, not LSC. All right, so that's started. And then we're gonna execute our shell here. So we can LXC exec Strongbad. Bin sh. That worked. And then let's see, we can run ID. Looks like we're root. Let's cd to mount root. All right, that should do it. So the last couple things we need to do. All right, so we use this group to escalate privilege to root. We've done that. What is the value of root.txt? So that should be in this directory. And there it is. As Alpha McEager claimed the root flag, a click could be heard as a small chamber on the interior of the NUC popped open. Inside, McEager saw a small object, roughly the size of an SD card. As a moment, he realized that was exactly what it was. Perplexed, McEager shuffled around his desk to pick up the card and slot it into his computer. Immediately, this prompted a window to open with the word hollow embossed in the center. Sorry, this word wrap is a little weird. Let's full screen that. All right, yep. the word hollow embossed in the center of what appeared to be a network of computers. Beneath this, McEager read the following: "Thank you for playing. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all." But the flag right up here at the top, Flynn lives. And that does it. That is the advent of Cyber 2. We've done every day, day 1 through 24. The only thing left, if you want to get your certificate, is to fill out the form here, get that flag, provide them with your feedback, answer these questions, and then you can get your certificate of completion. And we've done it. We've completed the advent of Cyber. That was a lot of fun. Look forward to next year's challenge and see what they kind of cook up for us. That should be a lot of fun. All right, so that does it for Advent of Cyber. So what's next? Well, coming up January the 14th. I mentioned this before, but once again, January the 14th, we've got a CTF coming up. So this is BAM CTF sponsoring I'm hosting CTF and Cigars, sponsored by Huntress Labs. So this is going to be a one-day event. This is an individual event for individuals only, not for teams. You can register now at play.bamctf.com. That's BAMCTF.com. Registration site is up and running, and this will be a King of the Hill style CTF. So there will be a number of systems that will need to be hacked into, and when you get in and when you get root, you need to put your team name in a specific file that is only accessible by root. And then as soon as you do, you get 50 points for capturing that server. And then every 30 seconds that your name is still in that file, you get an additional 10 points. And that continues until somebody else gets in and they replace that file with their own team name or their own name. So this should be it's a 6-hour long event. It's January the 14th from 10 a.m. Central to 4 p.m. Central, and we will be live streaming through the entire thing. And when I say we, that would be myself, of course, as well as some of the employees of Huntress Labs who are sponsoring the event, providing the prizes, and I'm hoping to get some of my coworkers from Perch Security as well to join us. And some of those, you may have heard of him, John Hammond. He helped put together the Advent of Cyber. He did some of the challenges for that. He's also going to be joining us. Some of you may know who he is. We've also got David K. Because I can't remember, or I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Dave K. He's also from Huntress Labs, and he's helped us put together some CTFs in the past. So there's been some of the CTFs that I've done for other events. Worked with Huntress Labs before, and Dave has helped me out on putting together some of those challenges. That was a lot of fun. So John and Dave are going to be joining me, getting some of the Perch people as well, probably some more Huntress people, and we're going to be streaming through the whole thing. We're going to be playing some video games. So this is going to be a video game themed CTF. So some of the ways you need to get into the servers are going to be based on vulnerable video games. We're going to be playing through some of those. Hopefully you won't DOS the box that we're playing on. I might have to put that on a separate subnet so we can keep playing without the server crashing all the time. But when you get into a box, you've got to make sure that the game that it's running stays up and running, or you won't be getting points. So you've got to keep it up and running. Maybe patch some of the holes and keep other people out in order to maintain your control of that box and maintain your status as King of the Hill. So I'm really looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. All the CTFs I've done in the past have really just been Jeopardy style. So doing a King of the Hill style CTF is a new thing for me. So I'm looking forward to how that works, hoping the scoring engine works the way it has in test. So that should be a lot of fun. Again, that's January the 14th, and you can register right now at play.bamctf.com. I think that does it for now. I'll be back next week, next Saturday. I'll have something different. I've been doing the Advent of Cyber for pretty much all of December. This is the last episode of CTF and Cigars for 2020 because next Saturday it will be 2021. Let's hope 2021 turns out better than 2020. And I think that does it. Oh, I did want to mention the prizes for the CTF and Cigars. So this is, I'm pretty excited about these as well. Huntress Labs really came through for our sponsorship, and John pulled some strings with the TryHackMe gang and also got us some prizes from them. So first place will be a Huntress themed humidor. So they're still working on the design for that, but I'm pretty excited. They're gonna have a laser engraved humidor with a Huntress theme to it, as well as a 6-month subscription to TryHackMe. Second place will be a $100 Amazon gift card and a 3-month subscription, and then third place is a $50 Amazon gift card and a 1-month subscription. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll probably also do some raffles while we're streaming, and we'll see what's in my humidor. I might give away some of my cigars. So that also is something to look forward to. So once again, thanks everybody for watching. All right, I do see in the chat the question, what is the CTF URL again? I'll go ahead and type it in the chat here. It is play.bamctf.com. All right, I threw that into chat. So you've got that. I don't think I've put a link on my main site yet, so I need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get a link. If you go to bamctf.com, there will be a link to play.bamctf.com. Also on my Twitter page, I'll post that link as well. And you can follow me on Twitter at BamCTF for any other announcements or anything else that might be coming up. So all that's coming up. And I think that does it for today. So we only had 1 day's worth of challenge to go through today, just day 24. I've been doing 3 to 4 days every time I streamed, mainly because I was just trying to get caught up. But that was a fun challenge. Let us kind of put everything together that we've learned. Looks like we've already got somebody registered. All right. Thanks, ETKid09. All right. So that does it for this week. I will see you next time. And don't forget, next time you're playing a CTF, if you get stuck, the most important things to remember: try harder, don't panic, and always RTFM. Thanks again, and see you next time.
It's a madman, the mountain's fire.